This May the 28th picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Sign up with our code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MLB SGPN. And we're brought to you by the Mega Memorial Merch Sale, 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code SGPN May. Welcome everybody to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is forgotten Monday, May the 27th, and we are here to handicap a full slate of 15 games for Tuesday, May the 28th. Joining me on Memorial Weekend Monday is Mr. Lonte Smith. Lonte, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. Good to be here with you. Some good baseball going on, unless you got the Braves like me. But outside of that, man, it's been going pretty good. So hopefully we can, keep it going.
You had a fun weekend? Have you been out and about?
Yeah, not really. The weather's been kind of up and down, but we'll go out after this show and have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, I came. You might have noticed different environment this week.
Yeah.
But we went to a friend's house last night, barbecued in the rain. It was horrible. But tonight turned into a lovely summer's evening. But Bob didn't go to bed till 5 a.m. because he was mucking about with his mates. So he came in and he's passed out to sleep on the sofa where I normally record. So I didn't have the heart to pick him up and move him. He looked quite happy asleep. So I just left him in there and I came through here. But an hour ago, I did the Premier League show here. It was quite nice. I think it's probably going to be pitch black by the time we finish. So if you gradually lose me as the show goes on, don't worry. It'll be like a Dateline murder documentary where I'm all sort of shadowy. I'll be the prime suspect in a murder by the end. But as we lose the light, don't worry. You'll still be able to hear me. I mean, the main news of the weekend, Lonte, is Ronald Acuna and his knee giving up, which is just horrible for him, horrible for the Braves, horrible for baseball. Probably only Phillies fans, I would suggest, are the ones who are taking any pleasure out of that.
Yeah, for sure. Bad for baseball as well. One of the more exciting players in the league. Just won the MVP. And I guess it kind of puts the score right now kind of puts a little damp on the move that I was going to say that. I mean, I think it matters, but not really overall because, I mean, one player doesn't make a ton of difference unless you're a pitcher. But, I mean, obviously, they're down like 6-0 right now. So it's kind of hard to, come up here and say. But, yeah, he'll be missed. I mean, the offense hasn't been good with him. And he hasn't had the best of years. So it'll be interesting to see what they do to kind of patch together the top of that lineup. But they haven't been good at all. And, yeah, I mean, they're going to have to depend on, a lot more the middle part of that lineup to kind of get things done. So I'm interested to see how they go, especially without Strider and him. That's two big blows to a pretty good team who have been struggling to begin the season anyway, offensively especially.
Yeah, I think you're right. Part of the problem is they haven't been playing well. We've talked about other teams either hiding or being able to cover injuries, or we talked about when prospects come up, like Baltimore brought up Jackson Holiday, but they were able to hide him in that lineup because they were still playing well. It's going to be a massive issue to cover that because they're a long way behind. They're a long way in baseball terms, 5 or 6 games back. They got a game back last night. They sneaked a win and Philly lost. But Philly must be rubbing their hands now. We've got a real chance to put some distance between the two teams. It's frustrated me because I've got quite a few funky plays like the Royals and I've got some other nice divisional plays. I've got the Cubs at some decent prices, but nearly all of them have got the Braves in. I sort of bolstered them all up with the Dodgers at -400 and the Braves at minus 275 or whatever shit it was. So I'm going to get some fancy picks right, and the Braves are going to let me down unless they get their act together. So
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully
it's not completely
we'll see.
over. I mean, they're not far behind.
No, it's not.
Just I mean, it's only
No, a long
yeah,
way to go, mate.
yeah.
The chat is live and kicking. I would say happy Memorial Day to our American cousins in there, and also Callum, who was first in. Callum, double duty from the Premier League show as well. Lane and Randy has joined us as well. So if you are lurking about in the chat, by all means, come and say hello. 15 games tomorrow. It's a bit of a weird lineup. There's quite a few TBD pitches. I don't know if this is injuries. I don't know if it's the fact that there was baseball today, why teams haven't confirmed a pitcher. I don't know if there's people getting activated from the IL. I don't know if it's a new series thing. But we've got 10 or 11. I know one of them is a rain out, so there's a double header today where the pitchers are now all back to front from what they were supposed to be. So all kinds of things trying to prevent us handicapping some games. But me and Lonte shall not be stopped. Let me point you first towards the college baseball tournament starts on Friday. Noah Enoch, formerly of this parish, has got you covered with all the college baseball news, the college baseball experience. Great show. Noah's an absolute authority on this shit. He's a machine. Loads of fun as well. He's got a daily picks episode and regional previews. And the Memorial Day mega merch sale, 15% off everything in the merch store. Promo code SGPN. Right, so tomorrow we'll start with this double header because nominally this should be first off. We've now got a 4:10 Eastern first pitch, and then a game 2 between the Dodgers and the Mets. Initially, I handicapped Glasnow v Quintana. Obviously, Quintana, they've now found themselves in different games. So we've got Glasnow v McGill, and it's Gavin Stone versus Quintana. I've got one game priced up, but I don't know which one it is. Although both of them were pretty similar. It's kind of minus 135 for the Dodgers and plus 110 on the Mets with a total of 8.5. But I mean, other than that, Lonte, it's a bit of a minefield with everything that's changed.
Yeah, and me and Scott kind of handicapped this game yesterday, so it's pretty much the same handicap for me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think Stone. I was saying yesterday, I think Stone is pretty much a underrated commodity in this lineup and in this rotation, and he's been pitching well. But the Dodgers just haven't been scoring at all. They lost 5 in a row. Offense has been, brutal in that span. 3 runs or less, and 4 of the last 6. I mean, they're hitting 212 in their last 10. I mean, I don't think anybody would have thought that they would be that bad. I mean, I know teams go through, lows, but yeah, they've been bad, and I think they'll get off the snide. I think it's a perfect series to get off on. We saw the Mets have let go of a few games. I know they won the last game of that series against San Francisco, but they blew the other 2 games. They're underwhelming at home. I think they're 11-16 at home. They struggle as an underdog, 8-16, 3-8 their last 11. So I just think that we see a great series from the Dodgers. I mean, they're comfortable against the Mets. Although the Mets have won 6 of the last 10 versus the Dodgers. Historically, the Dodgers have pretty much owned them. So I'm going to be on the Dodgers in some form or fashion, Mal. I don't know if that'll be a team total. If we get I'll try to find like a doubleheader price for both, maybe parlay those. But I think the Dodgers have a good series starting off here from the top of the card today. I mean tomorrow. I'm sorry.
I'm going to start on the other side, just because the Dodgers have been so underwhelming lately. They lost 5 in a row. Obviously, they're not going to address that slide on Monday because there's no game now. I don't know if it was myself and you, might have been Scott. We handicapped Glasnow start last week against Arizona, and we handicapped him really as if he was unbeatable. The Dodgers owned the D-backs at home. Glasnow was great. The D-backs weren't. And Arizona won that game 6-0. And they're going to be a short price again behind Glasnow particularly. The last time we talked, Lonte, was Thursday night, and we talked about the Marlins series. and we said they're going to be plus 150 on both days, and we like them to win one of the two games, and we were right. And that's the kind of angle I would take with this tomorrow. The Mets had a very typical Mets weekend that they found ways to lose, and then eventually did scrape one. So they won one of the three games against the Giants when they probably should have done a little bit better. So the Mets are going to be, like I say, around about plus 138 both days. So I think we can get one of those two Mets wins over the line. But apart from that, I won't give you too much else because, like I say, the pitching matchups aren't entirely what I was expecting. So we go back to the top of the show. 6:35 Eastern, first pitch, the Boston Red Sox at the Baltimore Orioles. It will be Brian Bello for the Boston Red Sox. For Baltimore, it is Grayson Rodriguez. Plus 130 on Boston, minus 167 on Baltimore, with a total of 8.5. Brian Bello struggling slightly on the road. 4.73 road ERA. His last two road starts haven't been great. 8 earned runs over only 10 2/3 at Tampa Bay and at St. Louis. Boston, I've got a good winning record in his starts. The Red Sox seem to be able to do bits behind him. Boston generally just plodding along. They're the most 500 team there is. 27-26 record, 5-5 in the last 10. They got spanked tonight off Baltimore, 11-3. And Baltimore are going along really well. The other record that stood out for me for Boston was 10-18 record against teams over 500. So they're quite good at beating up the bad teams, but they do struggle against a higher caliber of opposition. It's all very middling. Baltimore have won 4 in a row. They are 17-10 at home. Rodriguez has only given up 2 earned in his last 16 2/3. So it's hard to get away from Baltimore in this situation. I mean, minus 167 is not really a working man's price. So you could take a Baltimore team total or a little run line. But yeah, this is all Baltimore for me, Lonte.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I like Baltimore. I had them today as well. I think we see much of the same. They've pretty much crushed this team all year, even in the series. I think in April they won the 2 of the 3 by double digits, and they crushed them today. I think that pretty much sums it up. I think it's just a bad matchup for Boston. And I mean, Rodriguez has been great. I think you mentioned it. He's got 11 2/3 scoreless streak at home. Only allowed 3 total runs in his 4 home starts. So he pitches really well at home. I think that offense has been really good. The only thing that bothers me is the bullpen. Over the last 10 games, the bullpen's ERA is like above 5, but the starter's ERA is 2.25. So I think Rodriguez will be able to give him a little bit of length here. So to shore up that bullpen and make sure they don't blow the game. But I think Baltimore, I know it's a higher price. I would probably maybe go a full unit on the first 5 and maybe a half unit on the full game. But I do think that Baltimore is the right side tomorrow.
So the sun goes down. This light is making my face whiter and whiter and whiter. So I apologise for the weird alien thing I've got going on. I will move back in there when Bob's awake in the next couple of days. We've got a 6:40 Eastern first pitch between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. Kyle Gibson for St. Louis and left-handed pitcher Andrew Abbott for the Reds. Even money, the Cards, plus 100. The Reds are minus 125. The total's 9.5, Lonte.
Yeah, originally when I was handicapping this game, I thought I was going to be on the Cardinals, but I kind of flipped, and I'm gonna be on the other side, man. Especially at this plus money price. You said it's even money, right? For Cincinnati.
Cincinnati are minus 125.
Oh,
the Cards are even.
Oh, okay, cool. I got it mixed up. But yeah, I think the price is still short. Abbott has been really good. Only allowed over 2 earned runs once in his 10 starts. 3 earned runs combined allowed in his last 3 home starts, and he's pitched well against quality offenses. I mean, San Francisco, who's been rolling. He played Philadelphia twice. Baltimore, San Diego is like right around that average, but he does have some deficiencies as far as allowing the home run. 6 home runs allowed in his last 5 starts. So got to keep the ball in the park, especially how well St. Louis has been playing. The Cincinnati's quality of opponent has been a much higher been much higher than what St. Louis has played, highlighted by the sweep of the Dodgers, which I think we talked about earlier. St. Louis also doesn't hit lefties well. They're under 200 versus lefties. So maybe an Abbott K-prop as well. But I do think Cincinnati is a good look here. Gibson's good, don't get me wrong. But I just think that Cincinnati's offense will be able to cut loose against Gibson versus St. Louis struggling against Abbott. So I like Cincinnati here at a short number, and maybe look at some props for Abbott. Also, a lot of the damage that St. Louis has been done with their, I guess not a win streak, but since they're winning ways, they play 8 straight home games. So, that bakes into it as well. So I do think the Reds are the right side in this game.
Yeah, I need to be really careful and keep handicapping St. Louis. Like, genuinely, I need to keep myself honest because I can't just fade them because I feel like I want to fade them. I need to have a bit more integrity for anyone listening, really. They're annoying me. The Cards, they really are. They're 8-2 in the last 10. I still don't think they played very well. Like you say, it has been a home winning streak. That's not their fault. The Reds have had a better weekend. They swept the Dodgers, I think, over the weekend. And Abbott is pitching really, really well. Gibson's all right, 3-2, 3.81 ERA. Abbott 3-4 with a 2.68 ERA. You pointed out the left-handed hitting stats for the Cards, which is important. Abbott's last 2 starts have both gone 7 innings, only given up 1 earned run. He's shown really good command. He doesn't strike out a load, but he commands it well. So, in form, at home, behind a pitcher who's been going well. Cincinnati Reds -125 for me. The NBA playoffs are cracking on. You will find Lonte with the rest of the gang on the NBA Gambling Podcast. And Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. You can play the pick'em game, which is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like rebounds, assists, and loads more. Make all your entries basketball, or you can mix and match with a few other sports. Win 100 times your money. Available in over 30 states, Underdog, including California, Texas, and Canada. Underdog are giving away loads of cash airdrops. There's promos. Find all of those at Underdog Picks on X. So keep an eye out there. And they've just launched Champions, which is a player versus player format in Florida. Sign up with our specific code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MLB SGPN. 6:40 Eastern first pitch. Pittsburgh Pirates at the Detroit Tigers. Jared Jones for the Pirates. Left-handed pitcher Tarek Skubal goes for Detroit, who are -150 at home. Pittsburgh +120 with a total at 7.5. This is one of these typical central kind of series. We've got another one coming up in a little while we're going to talk about, which is kind of low total, under teams, low and decent pitchers who we've also fancied to keep it low. The fact that the total's at 7.5 tells you the story, really. We've got Jared Jones, who's been excellent, has drawn a lot of attention. He's 3-4 with a 3.05 ERA. And you've got Skubal, 6-1 with a 2.25 ERA. So I like both starting pitchers. The Tigers did score a few runs over the weekend, particularly they broke out and scored 14 against the Blue Jays on Sunday night. But this just looks like a classic low-scoring central game. I didn't have to go too much into it. If it immediately ticks enough boxes, that's enough. I'll stop. I like 2 offenses there, 2 pitchers, yes. Total 7.5. Someone will win this 4-2 or 4-3. We'd squeeze the under, Lonte. I'll take under 7.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the opposite way now. I'm gonna lean to the over. Not really something that I'm too strong on, but I mean I like the way Detroit's been hitting the ball. I mean they're hitting 276 in the last 10, scoring nearly 6 runs per 9 in that span. They're over in 8 of the last 10. Pittsburgh's over in 7 of the last 10. Now I'm not expecting them to score 14 runs like they did against Toronto. They almost blew that game, actually. But I think that when you got these two pitchers, I think they both obviously have been really good. I mean, Jared Jones' 4th straight quality start. He's finished off his fourth straight quality start. He's one off the league lead. He has allowed a lot more contact lately. It just hasn't resulted in runs. And he also has allowed a home run in 3 straight games. And Scooble's coming off his worst start of the year, returning home after back-to-back road starts. I think he'll bounce back. So I'm leaning to Detroit as well. But I do think that if one of these pitchers has some trouble, that the other team, can kind of get to them, and they'll get to that bullpen. And both bullpens have been really bad in the last 10. I mean, ERAs of close to 7 for both sides. So I'm looking for, one of these pitchers to kind of be, give up 3, maybe 4 early on, and they get to the bullpen and give up another few. So I'm going to lean to the over, Mal. I think both of these pitchers are really good, but I think I'm leaning to Scooble having a better day tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe the first 5 might be a better play for me than if you point out those bullpen stats, Lonte. That's a really nice angle in. I'll throw out a quick apology to all our Canadian listeners. I forget about you. Sorry, I don't mean it. Randy's in the chat. I shouldn't assume you're all American. I don't mean to forget you. I know we have lots of Canadian listeners, so I will do better. I promise. We have a next game. This is a bit of a ropey one. This is off the board. 6:50 Eastern first pitch. The Oakland Athletics at the Tampa Bay Rays, and Oakland are officially TBD. I thought it was going to be Mitch Spence as a bit of an opener. Bit of a bullpen day, possibly, for the Athletics. So we'll take on Zack Weeler for the Tampa Bay Rays. No lines to be seen anywhere on this. Oakland gave me a little scare at the weekend. I needed Houston to keep me in the Survivor competition, and they tried their very best to fuck it up. Eventually, Oakland got there late on Sunday night and run out comfortable winners in the end, but it was a little bit too close for comfort. Tampa Bay still not playing very well either, are they? Zack Weeler is fine, 2-2, 3.42 ERA. He's fairly consistent. I don't trust the Rays as a betting proposition at all. They'll be very short in this position. And Oakland are one of those teams who are either, if you like them, they've probably made you a lot of money, but they'll also turn up. They've probably ruined the fair amount of bets this season as well, Oakland, by being more competitive and popping up in spots where people don't expect them to. But I haven't got much on this at all without an Oakland pitcher, Lonte.
Yeah, I don't either. I would expect Tampa to this is a get right series for them, as it's been for most struggling teams versus bottom teams like Oakland. Although they've been feisty at times, I do think Littell has been okay. He's been better at home in his last 3 starts versus the beginning of the year. He got 5 earned runs in his last 4 versus 8 in his previous 3, so he's been a lot better. He also, you might want to look at some K props for him. 7 Ks in 4 of his last 7 starts. So he's been, filling up the strike zone and having guys miss. So I wouldn't be able to lay the number, but I would look at some props for Littell. If anything, maybe a Tampa team total over. I did see Spence as well, so I'm not sure if that's going to change or not. But yeah, I would just lean to a team total for Tampa, thinking they get right in this series, much like a lot of the other teams who have played Oakland that have been struggling.
Yeah. Okay, we move along. DT Taylor joined us in the chat, new to me. Welcome along. Enjoying his Memorial Day with a little bit of baseball picks. We've got a 7:20, nearly right. First pitch between the Washington Nationals and the Atlanta Braves. We have Jake Irvin going for the Nationals and Max Fried for the Braves. It's plus 190 on the Nats. It's minus 250 on the Braves. Total is at 8.5. I think it's worth pointing out at this point that the Nationals are shellacking the Braves tonight. Where are we? Bottom of the 5th. Washington have had 9 hits to the Braves 1 hit. Don't know if the Braves are just sulking after what happened to Acuna. And the Braves lead 6-0, bottom 5 there. So can they carry this on into Tuesday, Lonte?
Yeah, I mean, I was making a case for Atlanta today, but I mean, I'm gonna probably come right back with them, especially if they continue getting basically 1 hit. Is Parker going today for Washington, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Parker's speaking is on the mound.
Yeah, Parker's been good, but I'm gonna go with the under as well, Mal. I mean, Fried is coming off his 2nd complete game of the year. He at one point he retired the first 18, or he retired the first 15 batters. 7 innings pitched in 3 of his last 4 starts. a 24-9 ratio in that span, K to walk ratio, 1 earned run, a fewer in 4 of his last 6 starts, 3 shutouts in that span. So I do think that Fried will bounce back. Well, not bounce back, but I think the Braves will bounce back with Fried on the mound. And I like the under as well, man. I think Atlanta's offense is going to continue to struggle as you just pointed out. But Washington, I think this is a pretty much an aberration. They pretty much struggled on the road recently. They were hitting 220 prior to this game, under 210 overall in their last 10. They do struggle against lefties. 221 against lefties is what they're batting. And if you look at the splits at home for Atlanta, 16 of their 24 games at home have went under. 17 of 28 road games have went under for Washington. So I think Irvin is pretty good. I mean, outside of giving up 6 to the Dodgers, he's been really good as well. 3 earned runs or less in 7 of his 10 starts. So I think he can hold down this offense, but I do expect Fried to shut down Washington. So I'm looking at the under, man. I think the under is a good play here.
Yeah, that's a nice case you made there, Lonte. Irvin's been consistent. 3.79 ERA, I think it's about right. He's been fine on the road. He has struggled in division, but that might just be a coincidence kind of thing. He started 3 games against divisional opponents, 5.29 ERA. Fried's coming off the shutout. Doesn't that make him an auto fade?
Yeah, no, it does. It does. That's why I didn't take the side. I think he can still go well against Washington, being that they struggle against lefties. I mean, I think this performance offensively that they're putting on today, obviously, is not sustainable for what they usually do. So,
complete game shutout. Don't know if you can hear that noise in the background. That's the police helicopter. That'll tell you the lovely area that I live in, Lonte. We often get the police helicopter going overhead. So there's something going on round and about. Nothing to do with me. I'm innocent. So we have to fade him coming off that complete game shutout against the Cubs. And like I say, the Braves aren't playing well, and Washington are doing all right. I think plus 190, you have to take a shot occasionally, and I'll take a shot here on the Washington Nationals. 7:40 Eastern first pitch, Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins. This is a good-looking pitching matchup. We have Cole Reagans going for the Royals. And for the Twins, it is Simeon Woods Richardson, one of the biggest names in baseball. Minus 133 for Kansas City. Even money, Minnesota. And the total here set at 7.5. So this was the game I was alluding to earlier when we talked about Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Jones versus Skubal. Yeah. It's the same game. It's the same people. Reagan's, I've got Reagan's top strikeouts, and he started really well. I've got him back to him at 80-1, and he started really well. I was getting a little bit excited. Then he fell off a bit, and then he came back with a 12 strikeout game. So he was sitting in second place behind Glasnow in that. So if he keeps chipping away, I hopefully get a run for my money out of Reagan's. He's 4-3 with a 3.34 ERA. But he's had back-to-back scoreless innings, including that 12K outing against the Tigers last time out. One bad start, but the rest have been absolutely fine for Simeon Woods Richardson. He's 1-0 with a 2.57 ERA. He's got a 1.64 at home. This is quite the big series for these two teams because they're kind of next to each other in the standings, but they're trending in opposite directions. The Twins have actually won that game today, and the Royals have been looking to put a little bit of distance between them. But I like the Royals here. I do lean towards the under, but the Royals were in better form. I'm not put off by the fact they've lost today. What did that game finish today? The
6-5, I think. They almost came back and won it.
Yeah, actually, the Royals scored 4 in the bottom of the ninth when the Twins looked to have it wrapped up. So the Twins won 6-5, but the Royals behind Reagan's can beat them tomorrow. I'll take the Royals at minus 133, Lonte.
Yeah, I like the Royals as well, man. I'm leaning to the under. Although Kansas City has been hitting the cover off the ball, hitting nearly 290 in their last 10. I do think that this will be a pitching duel as well. Reagan's is coming off a career high 12 Ks versus Detroit. He also is coming in off 13 scoreless. He did get shelled in his last road start, so that's something to kind of monitor. But I don't think Minnesota's offense is potent enough to kind of take advantage of that. And on the opposite side of Minnesota, their offense is just it's not good. I mean, they hit under 210 their last 10, but they do hit lefties well. But I do think the Kansas City offense can get to Woods Richardson. This is the best offense he's faced. Well, the best offense he's probably faced up to this point has been Toronto, and he allowed the most runs that he has all year, which was 5. And I think this is the best offense. I think this will be better than what Toronto's faced. So I'm going with Reagans. I'm going to probably be on a K prop as well. Even though Minnesota does hit lefties well, but I'm gonna go first 5 under as well, Mal. So I'll go first 5 under, and then I'll take the Royals full game.
Like all of that, Lonte. We will move on to 7:40 Eastern first pitch between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Chicago White Sox. Kevin Gausman for the Blue Jays, and it will be Mike Clevenger going for the White Sox. The Blue Jays are short, minus 225. Plus 170 for the White Sox. Total is at 8.5. These two teams have been going at it on Monday evening, sorry. Blue Jays were out hit 10-6 by the White Sox, but won the game 5-1. What are you feeling for Tuesday's game, Lonte?
Man, I'm feeling nothing. I don't trust the White Sox against Gausman. If it was anybody other than Gausman, I probably would be on the White Sox. But I can't trust them with Gausman. Gausman's been really good. 1 earned run, a few in 5 of his last 7. His contact has been up and down over that span. But again, I mean, they don't have consistent bats, for the White Sox. But if it was anybody other than Gausman for Toronto, I would pretty much be on the White Sox. But I mean, I just can't trust him against an elite pitcher like Gausman, and I just can't trust Toronto laying that type of number at all. I'm pretty sure they burned everybody on this show numerous times. So I've put them on a do not bet list. And although Gausman's been good, maybe look at some K props or total out props for Gausman. But outside of that, man, I can't trust them now. I'll stay away from that. So if you want to look at some Gausman props, which are not available right now for me to give out, I'll be looking at his Ks and his total outs props. But outside of that, I'm staying away from the side.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a right old mess. Both pitchers are hard to trust. The Blue Jays had the typical mad weekend. Even the game they won, then kind of lost it, then won it again. They've been all over the place. You can't even bet them you can't bet them live, even that they're not trustworthy at any point. So all I've written down here is let's get some runs we can go over. But this will be way, way down my list of stuff to pick. It's insane. Rhythm. Rhythm is a new sponsor here. If you're betting on NBA player props, then Rhythm, spelled RITHMM, is the place to do it. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and to find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning the algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs. So if you're a bettor or a DFS player, this is exactly the place to be. Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data, without endlessly scrolling through your sportsbook. So start a 7-day free trial and start winning your NBA player props with Rhythm. That's RITHMM, available wherever you get your apps. 7:40 Eastern first pitch is the Chicago Cubs at the Milwaukee Brewers. Ben Brown is going for the Cubs. I did not see earlier on that Freddie Peralta has literally just been announced as the starter for the Brewers. I haven't seen any lines at all for this one. I'll quickly have a little look at Freddie Peralta. Lonte, do you have much on this?
Yeah, not really. I think this is a Milwaukee series. To be honest, I think I love the way their offense has been playing. I didn't see a pitcher listed for either side up until this point till you just told me about Peralta. But that just makes me even more inclined to take Milwaukee. I mean, they're a better pitcher, better team at home. I think it's a slam dunk for Milwaukee. Obviously, it's price dependent. But I do think this series is Milwaukee's. I mean, they're 12-9 at home. They've won 6 of their last 10. The offense, 6+ runs in 3 of their last 4 games, hitting 251 in their last 10. And the way Chicago's struggling, I mean, they're only pretty much back. They've only been pretty much competitive when Imanaga and Assad have been on the mound. I mean, Steele's kind of reeling. And I think that I think Milwaukee will put a number on them tomorrow. So I like Milwaukee. Obviously, it's price dependent. So I'm waiting on that price to come in. But I do think Milwaukee is a class in this, especially with Peralta on the mound in this matchup.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I haven't just done a quick desktop review of these two pitchers. Ben Brown's kind of a long reliever, so not quite a bullpen. He started 2 games. You might get 4 innings out of him, or when he comes out of the pen, he can pitch multi innings out of the pen, and he's pitched all right, fine. Comes and gives up 1 or 2 in the 2 or 3 innings. Freddie Peralta is settling into the pattern that we kind of know. We've TBD BJ, who's not here tonight. Trev, where are you? He gets us on road Peralta and home Peralta, and that's just starting to settle down. He hasn't had many home games, Peralta. It's the way it's fallen, the schedule. He's been on the road a lot of the time. But so this is a good spot. And you're right, the Cubs haven't been great lately at all. So yeah, without seeing any lines, I would lean to the Brewers in this one. 8:05 Eastern first pitch. This is another one that's on the board. It's the back end of this card where it's all a little bit messy. It's the Arizona Diamondbacks at the Texas Rangers. Brandon Pfaadt goes for Arizona, and it's the Texas pitcher who's officially TBD. But I think it's going to be Dane Dunning. But I haven't seen any lines on this one either. I don't know if you have, Lonte.
Nah, I'm thankful
Brandon
that we don't have lines though, because I have no idea about this game or this series, because these are 2 teams that I want to stay away from. To be honest with you, Mel, if you got something on this game, please let me know. I couldn't find an angle to back either side. I mean, to be honest, I think these teams pretty much mirror each other. I mean, they got similar record, similar statistics like over the last month. So yeah, I'm kind of glad this game's off the board, man. I didn't have much. Maybe a lean to the under with 2 teams struggling offensively. The pitchers, I guess if it is Dunning, have been okay, but just not great. So I'm interested to see if you have anything for this game, because I had nothing.
I have got a little angle in, and it's just on Brandon Pfaadt's recent form. So his kind of lines are average 2 and 3, 4 or 5, but he's been much better lately. In his last 5 starts, he's pitching with 3.19 ERA, and you're getting really good length out of him. So there might be an angle in here. Minimum 6 innings, up to 7. So you can get between 18 and 21 outs. And he's also got a 31-5 strikeout to walk ratio.
Yeah,
so he's got a lot of ticks in a lot of boxes for it. It tells he's trending in the right direction. And he was good at the back end of last season. And that was my only angle. Dunning, he's all right. He'll give up 2 or 3 or 4 earned runs. Both teams, you're right, are absolutely bang average. But I just think I prefer his form earlier on. So Diamondbacks first 5 was the angle that I found, Lonte. So that would be my pick. Again, we haven't seen any lines. I imagine I'd price this up as a match, maybe. It's really hard to split. And this might be minus 110 each of 2. So it'll be interesting to see what the lines are when they do come out. 8:40 Eastern first pitch. Cleveland Guardians at the Colorado Rockies. We have Tristan McKenzie going for the Guardians. It will be Ryan Feltner for the Rockies. Minus 163 for Cleveland, plus 125 for the Rockies. Total is not too high for a Coors Field game. Total's 9.5. Lonte, lead us off.
Yeah, man. I was just looking at the scores. I had Colorado first 5 today, and they just erupted in the bottom of the 5th. So that's good to see. But the bad news is, I had the under 11 in that game, and they have 11 runs in the 5th inning. So double-edged sword there. So hopefully Colorado can finish them off. But I did the Mal special in this series as well, man. I bet them as a dog both days. I bet them today, and I bet them tomorrow. And I think they'll win one of those games, and we'll profit. The Colorado offense has been a lot better than what Cleveland's been over the last 10, and the quality opponent has been better as well. The bullpen for Colorado has been bad, which is why it's a cause for pause to take them full game. I had more in the first 5 today, and I'll have more in the first 5 tomorrow. Although Feltner, 4 earned runs allowed in 4 of his last 7, he is allowing a lot of contact. But Cleveland, I mean, they're winning games in multiple ways. I don't know if I fully trust their offense enough to kind of lay this type of number on the road. I mean, I know it is in Coors, but if you look at the Colorado's games in Coors, 13 of the 22 home games have went under. So it's not the typical year in Coors that we're accustomed to seeing. I mean, of course, you'll have those, those outlier games where, like tonight, where they got 11 in 5 innings. But I do think McKenzie, he's been okay. He does allow a home run, 4 home runs allowed in his last 2 games. So maybe Colorado can kind of take advantage of that. But I just don't trust Feltner enough to lay a big, to lay a big price on him. But I will take him first 5, and take the bullpen out of the question. And so I think Colorado will win. I think they'll win tonight. And if they don't win tomorrow with this, we'll still profit. So maybe we take a Colorado first 5 and full game, a half unit there.
Bob's woke up. I just seen a ghostly face at the window there, and he jumped through. So he's emerged. So I'll go and throw him into bed in 20 minutes. Yeah, there was loads of different angles into this one. Cleveland's absolutely flying for a start. 9 wins in a row, although they are behind as we speak. Mackenzie's pretty reliable. Has one start in Coors Field a couple of years ago. Only gave up 1 earned run over 6 innings. So I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. Felton's been less reliable, but he's thrown okay at home. Well, I say okay, 394, which in Coors isn't terrible. But he hasn't pitched much at home. He's had 38 innings on the road, only 16 at home. So again, just a quirk of the schedule. So I do think Felton will be okay. Majority of these games, you normally see the line up at 10.5, and I quite like the under. And I think maybe the bookies think the same as me because they've set this line at 9.5.
Yeah.
And obviously I handicapped these before. I'd seen that total come out. So I'm going to stick with the under. When I did pick it, I thought I'd be going under 10 or under 10.5. And like I say, the bookies have got the same thought process. But I'll stick with it under 9.5. I think both pitches can be reliable. Next is at 9:38 Eastern first pitch between the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Angels. We have nasty Nestor Cortez for the Yankees. Griffin Canning will go for the Angels. It's -188 on New York. It is +143 on the Angels. Total is set at 8.5 in this one. Cortez, 3-4, 3.29 ERA. It's been absolutely fine. The main problem I've got in this game is that you can't take Canning. You just can't factor Canning in at all. 2-4 record with a 5.05 ERA. I was mildly concerned for the Yankees on this West Coast swing, and they've been all right. They're not showing any weaknesses at all, really. The Yankees, the Angels are struggling at home badly, 6-19. They're struggling badly against good teams with a record over 500. They are 7-21, but they are hitting 274 against lefties. So maybe they could put some runs on the board. I thought the safest option here was a Yankees team total, just to get to Cannon, because the Angels themselves might get some runs. But yeah, I like the Yankees team total being 4.5. Looking at that total,
yeah,
they can score that up, no problem. So yeah, I'll give me a Yankees team total, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and take the full game over. I like the way the Halos offense has been playing. They've scored 4+ in 7 of the last 10. They're over in 6 of the last 10. You mentioned their success against lefties with the batting average. They're averaging 5 runs per 9 in that span as well. Both hitting north of 250 in their last 10, combining for 10 runs per 9 in that span as well. And if you look at the Halos at home, I mean, they're a over team at home, 16-9 to the over at home. You mentioned Canning's issues. He has allowed, a lot of walks and a lot of home runs. And I don't think that, you want to do that against the Yankees with the way they've been swinging the bat. Cortez he's going to do what he does, but he does have moments where he flames out. If you look at his road starts, he's allowed 12 earned runs in his last 3. So he's coming in off 12 scoreless, but a lot of that damage has been done at home. So he might be due for a 3 or 4, 3 or 4 run game. And if we get 3 or 4 from the Angels, I'm pretty sure we can get 4 or 5 from the Yankees to go over this number. So I do like the over in this game, Al.
The children, Lonte, are not helping me concentrate here. They are both stood 3 yards there, wiggling their arse like this, trying to put me off. Idiots. The sun has slid out of the sky like we thought it might this time of night. So I'm sitting here in the darkness being faced with these 2 small idiots. Astros and Mariners. The back end of the card gets a bit messy. There's no lines on 2 of these last 3 games. And this is one of them. Because what time? It's 9:40 Eastern, and it's Houston who are officially TBD, although I think it's Christian Javier. No one else seems to know. Luis Castillo will go for Seattle, and no lines at all, with Javier not yet confirmed. If it is Javier, he's got one horrible start at Detroit, which he needs to put behind him, and that's skewed his numbers a little bit, even though they're still okay. 3-1, 389. And I think he can improve. He'll put that start behind him. Castillo has a 3.31 ERA. He gives up 2 earned runs every start.
Yeah, he does.
So at least if you know where we stand with him, that's very good of him, really. He's walking too many batters on the road, but he's not on the road here. He's at home. Seattle, oddly enough, Lonte, have scored fewer runs than Colorado this season, which is a little bit weird. Still not having the Astros. They did get me over the finish line in Survivor at the weekend, but they weren't convincing in any way, shape, or form. And I think Seattle can edge them out here. Don't know what the prices are, but I'll take Seattle to beat. If it is Javier, I'll take Castillo to get the win over Javier.
Yeah, so the reason why I think it got down is because Javier missed his bullpen session. He was having some forearm discomfort, so they're thinking it's gonna be Hunter Brown in this spot instead of him. Yeah, so I think that's the reason why we don't see a line. I was reading that earlier when I was handicapping this game, but I do like the Mariners, man. I think Castillo's record doesn't indicate how well he's been. I mean, he's been pretty much lights out after a shaky start. He opened the season allowing 12 earned runs, and in his first 3, if you look at his last 9 starts, he's allowed 13 total in that span. So he's been really good. 2 earned runs or less in 8 of those. He does have some walk issues, though. Seven walks in his last 2 games, so you want to clear that up, especially against a good plate discipline team like Houston. But if it is Hunter Brown, I'll be all over Seattle, man. I think Seattle will be here, will be the side here. Although, I mean, it's the same song and dance with Seattle for me. I mean, the pitching is awesome. They just can't get any offense going. So until they make some trades and make some moves to shore up their offense, they're pretty much going to be in the same. It's going to be the same scenario with them throughout the rest of the year. But I do think they will take care of business against Houston, especially if it's Hunter Brown on the mound on the road.
Okay, the penultimate game on the show will be a 9:40 Eastern first pitch between the Miami Marlins and the San Diego Padres. Left-handed pitcher Jesus Luzardo for Miami, and it is Hunter Waldron who takes the ball for San Diego. They are a little home favourite, the Padres, -125. The Marlins, -105. Total 7.5. Lonte, this is an interesting game to handicap.
It sure is, man. I like Miami as well, man. I like Miami as a small dog on the road. I like Luzardo, who's coming off his longest start of his career. I think he pitched 8 innings in his last start. Yeah, but he was effective, for sure. He retired 17 straight at one point versus Milwaukee, which is I would say not an elite offense, but as close as you can get to it. He's been excellent in his 3 starts since coming off the IL. He's got a .92 ERA and a 19-1 K to walk ratio over 19 2/3. So only 2 bad starts versus 2 of the better offenses in the league. So I don't think you want to hold that against him too much. I don't know if we can trust the offense of San Diego, who's been a bit up and down. Miami's won 7 of the last 10. Pitching wise, they've been solid. 3 runs or less allowed in 5 of their last 6. Opponents are hitting just under 220 in their last 10 versus them. Bullpens held up pretty well. So, man, I think we see Luzardo come out and take care of business. I like him first 5. I like him full game. Also lean to the under, Mal. I think San Diego's bullpen has been pretty much the most consistent thing or the consistent unit on their team. The starters just haven't been able to perform. So I like the under. I like Miami first 5 in full game behind Luzardo.
I wrote the same 2 picks down, Lonte. I wrote down Miami first 5. We took them last week in a couple of spots, and we were correct to do so. They won some games. They've been in decent form. They've been competitive. That was a career best for Luzardo last time out. Lowered his ERA to 4.14, and it's he's trending certainly in the right direction. Hunter Waldron, it's just been that very much an SP5 for the Padres, just throwing him out as the last man every 5th day. 2-5 with a 4.86 ERA. And behind Waldron, I think the Padres are vulnerable. So I will co-sign your Miami pick. We take the Marlins here at -105. the final game on the card, and this will not surprise you, the San Francisco Giants, I feel like they get shortchanged here because they only get handicapped on about 25% of our shows because they never have a picture. They never get a
Right.
chance. We never get to talk about the Giants. We took them against the Mets a couple of times over the weekend when they did have pictures. But once again, the Giants are TBD. Whereas the Phillies are throwing Zack Weeler. So all in all, this is quite an unattractive betting proposition. We can't give you any lines. I can't give you any information. I know Zack Wheeler's good. I know the Phillies are good, even though the Phillies are getting beat by the Giants 3-2 through 3 innings tonight on Monday. But yeah, I've got absolutely bugger all on this, Lonte. You got anything?
Yeah, I got nothing, but I'm on San Francisco today. I went head to head with Scott and a couple guys in the chat. So, man, I'm hoping that that they hold it down. Snell is coming back from paternity leave, so maybe that baby, kind of gives him a new relief on life, and we can get him home. So, yeah, but outside of that, man, this game, I mean, without a pitcher for the Giants, you never really can know. But I mean, I know that the Phillies will be a hefty price. Being that they have Wheeler on the mound. So maybe looking over. I like both offenses have been going pretty well. So maybe look at an over there. But outside of that, Mal, don't have much at all.
Yeah, wasn't much going on there. Matty DM has joined us. Matt, happy Memorial Day to you. Matt's saying some nice things in the chat. We do appreciate that. Okay, so that is 16 games kind of in the books, or as many of them as possible. We need a lock and a dog, Lonte. We've been doing all right, I think, when you've been leading off, so we won't muck up the system. Give us your
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cincinnati, man. Cincinnati is my lock. I think that we talked about it. That was a game that we both liked. I'll trust that Abbott is kind of comes in, gets the job done. He's not fancy. He's not going to strike out a ton, but he's also not going to allow a lot of contact. He's not going to allow St. Louis to kind of get going. They struggle against lefties anyway, so I'll take Cincinnati as my dog. As the lock, I'm going back to something that we both liked again, man. I like Miami. I like Luzardo. I think we got the better pitcher on the mound. They've been playing the best, most consistent baseball of the two teams. Never can trust San Diego. So I'm going with the Marlins on the road, man. I'll take Luzardo full game.
Okay, I like that. I like mine here, which is normally a bad sign. But for my luck, I'm going to take the New York Yankees team total, which we think will be over 4.5.
Yeah, I think around
in their game at the Angels. I mean, Aaron Judge might get all of them by himself. He's an absolute machine. He's in incredible form at the moment. The Yankees are still just doing bits. They're in good form. And Griffin Canning isn't. Griffin Canning, unfortunately, where we had high hopes for him, has just become expensive to follow. So Yankees team total. For my dog, I cannot get away from the Washington Nationals. Although I do maybe feel like I've got them a day too late because they would have been a similar price tonight. They lead 8-0. The Braves, obviously, they've lost Acuna. It's a blow. It's a psychological blow. It's a blow in that dugout. They've got 2 hits tonight. They weren't playing particularly well beforehand. Washington have been live every night this season. We've done a really good job at taking Washington in various spots. Plus 190. I don't mind Jake Irvin. Consistent, and that might be all he has to be tomorrow. If the Nationals are still, if the Braves are still in their funk. So yeah, let's take the Nationals at a fancy price, plus 190 to beat the Braves. Lonte, that's it. Is there anything we need to tell the people before we let them go?
Nah, man. Actually, I think me and Scott are having a pretty good day today so far. So we knock on wood. I know we're against each other in the Giants game, but I think we pretty much agreed on a lot of things on today's card. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the week now. Hopefully, Bob can he can stop torturing you now. He can get back out of you can get back out of you can get back in the house. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the week. We got some good matchups. I mean, we listed off the pitching matchups that we had today, which were pretty good. It's only going to get better going forward.
Yeah, well, they're off school this week. It's school holiday, so they don't have to be up early in the morning. My other thing I need to show you, Lonte, is this is my new device that I've been using for whacking the slugs in my back garden because the slugs have been killing all my beautiful flowers. So
Oh
I've got
man.
this bad boy. So the minute we get off this recording, I'm heading out there like a stone cold madman with this beauty to get involved in the slugs and snails. I volley the snails, I hit the slugs. That's the plan. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for joining us. I know it's a holiday day for you, Lonte, so I appreciate you giving up a little bit of time. The gang will be here all week. Watch out for the scheduled shows on YouTube. And like I say, if you do join us live, come in and say hello, give us a few picks. Like, rate, review. We haven't had a review for ages, so go and say something nice if you want. And other than that, thank you very much. Back tomorrow, and we will see you down the road. Cheers.